Here we go. Get some water. Hydrate. Hydrate or dihydrate. Okay. To be or not to be isn't a suicide speech. It's a coming out speech. Hello and welcome, or welcome back, to Classically Queer, Acing the Shakespeare Transition, where I share my journey of coming out via Shakespeare and reveling in the queerness of his characters and stories. Part 1. Okay. So, it is not a suicide speech. We've already worked through that. Hamlet has some ideation in their opening monologue, oh, that this too solid flesh would melt. But once they meet the ghost, they are hurtling from choice to choice at breakneck speed. Hamlet berates themselves for not moving faster, sure. But they're seesawing between getting vengeance and ensuring that this ghost is for real. They are fully aware that this ghost could be an imposter, exploiting Hamlet's grief to draw Hamlet to damnation. But if the ghost is honest, then it's Hamlet's job to get revenge. Side note, Hamlet recognizes the same duty and Laertes over Polonius later. So first, Hamlet needs evidence. They use the play within a play to get it. Okay, sure. Then we need equal revenge. This is why Hamlet doesn't kill Claudius in the chapel. They can't bear the thought of sending Claudius to heaven while their father burns in purgatory. No. Opportune though the moment may be logistically, it's not a fittingly even revenge. Bummer that Claudius wasn't actually praying, but Hamlet's choice is a lot more active than just, oops, I failed a perception check. So, Hamlet has not been considering suicide since the start of the play. With that cleared up, let's get into part 2. Hamlet is aro, ace, and trans. Hamlet flat out says, man delights me, not me. No, nor woman neither. Man delights not me. No, nor woman neither. Sounds pretty Aspec to me. And he's been away to college for a while, which is not the only place to discover your queerness, but it's where I discovered mine. Having a fresh environment away from childhood influences is a great way to explore information that's new to you. I like to think that Hamlet actually medically transitioned while at Wittenberg and hasn't told anyone at home yet. I mean, imagine discovering your queerness, a whole internal worldview shift, still trying to figure out the most affirming language for you, only to get hit with a notice calling you home for your dad's funeral. Oh, and your mom's getting remarried within weeks of the wake to your uncle, which wasn't socially considered incestuous to the Danes at the time. Then Hamlet gets rejected by Ophelia, which stings. But if Hamlet is aro ace and genuinely wanted nothing more than a friendship, and Ophelia was maybe pushing it a little bit, maybe this is actually relief. Maybe there's a hope that she's thought better of turning the relationship romantic, and Hamlet doesn't have to initiate that difficult conversation. Obviously, that goes south in the nunnery scene, even with Hamlet trying to say, I myself am indifferent. Honest. And then seeing Ophelia's face crumple and realizing that maybe that was not the right way to say, I just want to be friends. But we're not there yet. The question becomes, how much information can I share with this person? Hamlet is fully aware of Polonius' skill as a spy and his control over his children. So if Hamlet is in a surveillance state, called home prematurely, and then blocked from going back to the place they feel most affirmed, then the ghost saying, hey, I actually got murdered and you need to get revenge, which I know is a death sentence, but, familial duty and all that. Then all this upheaval with Ophelia. And Hamlet is dealing with a rapidly changing, highly emotional environment from incredibly visible public position, feeling the pressure to act now and the pressure to be shrewd. So we come to the speech. Let's go line by line and pick up the resonances. Now, depends on the production whether Hamlet knows anyone's in the room or not. So, depends on the situation. To be or not to be? That is the question. So, right off the bat, to be myself or not? To come out or not? It's a huge question, especially if safety is on the line. I mean, Hamlet's already got a revenge plot that puts him directly on a treason charge for regicide. How much more precarious might their position be if they are outed? Would the people be on Hamlet's side anymore? How much easier would it be to disappear Hamlet if they're out? Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing, end them. I'm breaking in the middle of a line here, but again, we're dealing with the two choices. Stay closeted and continue to be misgendered, etc., but retain cisgender privilege, or come out, show people who you really are, and get ready to fight the uphill battle against transphobia. Horatio and Ophelia would probably be safe bets for being accepting, and probably also Gertrude, but so there'd be some ending of the Sea of Troubles. But Claudius, yeah. To die, to sleep, no more. Again, midline break, but these 6 words can go so many ways. With our coming out lens, I want to focus on the resonances of death in regards to dead names. Now, I personally don't use the term dead name, I prefer birth name, but I know that for some people, it's the most accurate way to describe the shift between their closeted self and their out self. Like, family kicked me out, disowns me, pretends I don't exist, so that old self is dead, and I'm reborn as the inner me I've always been. Kind of like shedding a cocoon, I guess. I'm not looking at death as a destructive force, necessarily, but as a permanent change. I mean, once Hamlet comes out, there's no going back. More on that in a minute. And again, Hamlet's got the whole go kill the king order going on, so aside from dead names or being dead named by transphobic characters, like, literal physical death is also a definite risk. And by a sleep, to say we end the heartache and the 1,000 natural shocks that flesh is heir to. 'Tis a consummation devoutly to be wished. It would be so great to be able to come out without fear of violence up to and including death. To be able to share who you are freely, to end the inner turmoil of what ifs and having to secretly bear the pain of being misgendered. To die, to sleep perchance to dream. There's the rub. For in that sleep of death, what dreams may come when we have shuffled off this mortal coil must give us pause. There's the respect that makes calamity of so long life. Hamlet could dream about what relief coming out would be. But those dreams also come with the very real risks of being openly trans in a transphobic society. Again, once they're out, they've committed to an irreversible life change. That's not to say that people in real life don't come out and then realize, oops, this other label actually suits me better, or oops, actually, never mind. Like, bro, I came out 3 times already. And as a trans person, I have to come out every time I introduce myself. But for Hamlet specifically, Claudius is a heavy risk. Even if Hamlet detransitions, goes back in the closet, it might be too late. Claudius might decide that even the mere mention of gender diversity could unravel his kingdom and order Hamlet's permanent disappearance. Oh boy, this next part is packed with resonance for trans people. Here we go. For who would bear the whips and scorns of time? Waiting for access to transition materials, even something as simple as a new wardrobe or a haircut, not to mention the wait times for medical or legal transitions. The presser's wrong, the proud man's contumely. Transphobic politicians pushing anti-trans legislation, cutting LGBTQ plus suicide lines, and trans healthcare, all while proclaiming themselves heroes of some victory against an enemy that literally just wants to live life. The pangs of disprized love. Ooh, this one. And I've known trans friends who lost family, friends, significant others when they came out. The pain of family misgendering you intentionally, or the awkward pain of when someone misgenders you and then makes a whole big spiel about how they're trying, but it's just so hard. And learning new habits takes time. If you're trying to get it right, I see it. And I'm grateful for your efforts. I don't need the explanation. I went through the same thing. It took me years before I stopped misgendering myself. Because I also had to shift neural pathways that had been more than 2 decades in the making. A simple sorry, correction, back to the conversation is enough. It shows me you care. So back to the text. The law's delay. I live in the US, but I know it's not the only place where the law is delaying so much and it's costing trans people their lives. The insolence of office. Again, it's 2025. I live in the US. Take a guess as to who I picture when I speak this line. And the spurns that patient merit of the unworthy takes. You keep trying to live your life, resist where you can, help your loved ones, and it feels like the world just keeps kicking down. when he himself might his quietest make with a bare bodkin. This one's a hard one for me to say. A bodkin is a type of dagger. It's also a type of arrowhead. I am an AFAB non-binary person, meaning I was born in a body that our society says is female, even though I'm neither man nor woman. I'm transmasculine, but not a trans man. Boy-ish, if you will. I really prefer to be a fluid confusion with a touch of masculine thrown in. I've worn binders and trans tape at different times to help with my dysphoria around my chest. It's the primary source of distress for me most of the time. The problem is that tape often tears my skin a bit, and binders just hurt. I can't be active in them either. When they themselves might their quietest make with a bare bodkin. Gender-affirming surgery, top surgery, is a huge goal for me. I need $8,009 to make it work, and it's so hard to be patient. And I didn't realize for a long time that my favorite daydreams were, shall we say, not cisgender. I mean, from the time I was about 10 years old, I would dream about getting into a car crash or a house fire or something where I'd only get injured across the chest in such a way that the extra tissue would be shorn off. And I'd see my new flat chest and feel this huge relief. Thanks to therapy, I'm at a point where I would not self-surgery. I don't have the pain tolerance for it anyway. But Hamlet could absolutely be thinking about their own transition, if they've already had gender-affirming surgery, or if they haven't. And this is absolutely the detail that goes through my head when I speak this part of the speech. Who would fardels bear? Fardels are burdens, to grunt and sweat under a weary life, but that the dread of something after death, the undiscovered country from whose bourne no traveller returns, puzzles the will, and makes us rather bear those ills we have than fly to others that we know not of. As much as Hamlet wants to be out, the safety risks are very real. Thus conscience doth make cowards of us all, and thus the native hue of resolution is sicklied o'er with the pale cast of thought. And enterprises of great pith and moment with this regard, their currents turn awry and lose the name of action. This feels like a resignation to me, or perhaps a choice to not be out just yet out of safety concerns. Staying closeted due to safety concerns doesn't make you less queer. It is absolutely valid to protect yourself. That's why I make so much noise about being queer. I have the privilege of a safe family and a support network. So I feel compelled to push our rights forward until it's safe for everyone to be out. I know when I was first discovering my transness and figuring out how I wanted to come out to the people I loved, everyone could tell something was up. Like, specifically, everyone was concerned about my mental health. Hamlet, mental health. Because I was self-isolating. I mean, we were in the middle of COVID, and in the middle of the COVID shutdown. But I would hide myself away in my room for hours on end. I mean, scrolling through LGBTQ wikis, trying to make sense of everything on my own, because it felt like such a momentous change that I had to have the words exactly right before saying anything, lest people misunderstand or think I wasn't certain about myself. I knew I was non-binary, but my desperation to not get pushback made it such a struggle to wordsmith it clearly to everyone else. So yeah, to be or not to be is about whether it's safe to come out or stay closeted, not about suicide. Remember, you're loved, you're not alone, we're in this together. See ya.